In the autumn of 1916, a woman sat alone behind the walls of 10 Downing Street. Her name was Margot Asquith, the wife of the British Prime Minister. Her thoughts, however, were not on politics or empire. They were with a young man fighting for his life in the mud of the Western Front. He was her stepson, Arthur. But to his comrades, he was simply Ock, and the place he now fought in was not the sea where sailors belonged. It was the Somme, the blood-soaked graveyard of a generation. This is the heroic yet often overlooked saga of the Royal Naval Division, a unique fighting force forged from the very heart of Britain's maritime might, thrust onto the brutal battlefields of the Great War. At the dawn of the Great War, Britain's Royal Navy stood as the undisputed guardian of the seas, a symbol of imperial power. Thousands of eager volunteers, including young Arthur Asquith, flocked to join the Royal Naval Volunteer Reserve, RNVR, believing the vast oceans would be their theater of war. They envisioned grand naval engagements, not the grim, static warfare of the trenches. Yet fate, and the audacious vision of a young First Lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill, had a different destiny in store for many of them. Churchill, ever the unconventional strategist, faced a peculiar dilemma. While the Royal Navy possessed an abundance of trained personnel, the immediate need for ships was not as pressing as the burgeoning demand for ground troops. The initial phases of the war had quickly revealed the insatiable appetite of the Western Front for manpower. Rather than allow these skilled sailors to remain idle, Churchill conceived a bold, some might say audacious solution: transform them into an infantry division. This was not merely a pragmatic decision. It was a testament to Churchill's belief in the adaptability and inherent fighting spirit of the British sailor. Thus, the Royal Naval Division, RND, was born. It was a force unlike any other, neither regular army nor traditional Marines. It comprised 8 battalions, each proudly bearing the names of legendary naval commanders: Anson, Benbow, Collingwood, Drake, Hawke, Hood, Nelson, and Howe. These names, steeped in centuries of naval glory, were meant to inspire, but they also underscored the profound irony of their new mission. These men, trained for the rolling decks and open seas, were now destined for the muddy fields and claustrophobic trenches of continental Europe. The formation of the RND was a strategic gamble, a testament to the urgent and often improvised nature of warfare in 1914. It was an experiment in military innovation, born out of necessity and a desire to leverage every available resource. For naval historians and military enthusiasts, the RND represents a fascinating case study in the repurposing of military assets and the challenges of inter-service integration during a global conflict. Their journey from the quarterdeck to the front line would be fraught with hardship, but also marked by extraordinary courage and an enduring, unique identity. The RND's initial deployments were far from the Somme. Their first major engagement, a desperate attempt to bolster the Belgian defenses during the siege of Antwerp in October 1914, proved to be a harsh introduction to land warfare. Ill-equipped and hastily deployed, many RND men were captured or forced to retreat into neutral Holland. This early setback, though not entirely their fault, cast a shadow over their reputation within the military establishment. It highlighted the immense challenges of transforming sailors into effective infantry overnight. Despite this difficult start, the RND was soon thrust into another crucible, the Gallipoli campaign in 1915. Here, on the rugged, unforgiving terrain of the Dardanelles, the division truly found its fighting spirit. They endured brutal conditions, fierce Ottoman resistance, and staggering casualties. The battles of Krithia, Achi Baba, and Suvla Bay became synonymous with their sacrifice. It was at Gallipoli that the RND, particularly units like the Hood and Hawke battalions, earned a reputation for tenacity and bravery, often fighting with a ferocity that belied their unconventional origins. The experiences at Gallipoli, though costly, forged the RND into a cohesive fighting unit. They learned the grim realities of trench warfare, the importance of discipline under fire, and the unbreakable bonds of comradeship. For WW1 researchers, Gallipoli offers a critical lens through which to understand the RND's evolution from a hastily assembled force to a battle-hardened division. It was here that their unique culture began to solidify, a blend of naval tradition and newfound infantry grit. They were sailors, marching on land, dressed initially in navy blue, trained to fight at sea, now carrying outdated rifles and sleeping in barns behind the lines in France. Yet, they brought with them something priceless: tradition. Even after being absorbed into the 63rd Royal Naval Division and issued khaki uniforms, their naval soul refused to fade. This unique identity became a source of both pride and friction. Their language was a constant reminder of their origins. They requested leave by asking to go ashore. They returned from leave by reporting aboard. If they were late, they were adrift. These nautical terms, alien to the regular army, were a badge of honor, a subtle defiance against attempts to strip them of their naval heritage. They sang sea shanties in the trenches, their voices carrying across no man's land, a stark contrast to the grim realities surrounding them. They saluted with saltwater hearts, their bearing often more relaxed than their army counterparts, yet their courage unwavering. The R&D's unique character extended to their officers. Many were drawn from the RNVR, bringing with them a civilian background and a different approach to leadership. This often fostered a closer, more informal relationship between officers and men, a stark contrast to the rigid class distinctions prevalent in some army units. This camaraderie, born from shared hardship and a distinct identity, was a powerful morale booster. Perhaps one of the most poignant examples of their enduring spirit was the Hood Battalion Band. In the mud of the Western Front, amidst the constant threat of shellfire, they played Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. This wasn't for ceremony or parade, it was for courage. It was a defiant act of cultural preservation, a reminder of beauty and order in a world consumed by chaos. For British history enthusiasts, the R&D's cultural resilience offers a fascinating insight into the diverse fabric of the British fighting forces during the Great War. The R&D's distinct identity, while a source of internal strength, often put them at odds with the more traditional elements of the British Army. Major General Cameron Chute, a career officer from the Rifle Brigade, took command of the 63rd Division in 1916. He embodied the Army's skepticism towards these unconventional troops. Chute despised these bearded, eccentric men who dared to wear sailor badges and, to his chagrin, often earned double the Army's pay due to their naval rates. "They're not real soldiers," he famously declared, reflecting a widespread sentiment among the regular Army establishment. This disdain was not merely professional. It was often rooted in class prejudice and a rigid adherence to military orthodoxy. The R&D's perceived lack of discipline, their informal customs, and their very existence as a naval unit on land challenged the Army's established norms. In return, the men of the R&D immortalized General Chute in biting verses and satirical anecdotes. A.P. Herbert, a renowned humorist and officer in Hood Battalion, would later publish The Ballad of Cotton's Beard, a thinly veiled mockery of the general who tried to shave away their identity and impose Army regulations on their unique appearance. This wasn't just a clash of class or command. It was a battle for the soul of a unit unlike any other in the war. It highlights the internal tensions and cultural complexities within the British Expeditionary Force, a rich area for historical research. The friction between the R&D and the Army hierarchy underscores a broader theme in military history: the challenge of integrating unconventional forces into established structures. Despite the animosity, the R&D continued to perform admirably, proving their worth through sheer grit and sacrifice. Their story is a testament to the fact that effectiveness on the battlefield often transcends rigid adherence to traditional military doctrine. On July 17, 1916, the Royal Naval Division reached the trenches of the Western Front, specifically the sector near the Ancre River, a tributary of the Somme. The Somme offensive, which had begun on July 1st, was already a meat grinder, consuming lives at an unprecedented rate. For the R&D, this was a new, terrifying chapter. Here, the lines were so close, sailors could hear the Germans whispering across no man's land. The proximity fostered a strange, almost surreal intimacy with the enemy. Lieutenant Kelly, a chaplain, once sang out a sea hymn, and from across no man's land, a German voice, perhaps a former sailor, joined in. But there was no poetry in the mud. The daily routine was a brutal cycle of patrols, trench maintenance, and constant vigilance. Patrols crawled through filth with grenades in hand, sometimes with the pin clenched between their teeth, a desperate measure for quick deployment. A misstep off the duckboards, the wooden walkways designed to keep men out of the mire, could swallow a man whole in the treacherous liquid mud. The trenches were a labyrinth of misery, infested with rats and disease, perpetually damp and cold. Amidst this grim reality, a peculiar figure emerged. Archie. Archie was made of papier-mâché, a decoy soldier, a crude but effective tool used to fool German snipers. He stood his watch longer than any man, passed from trench to trench, soaking up bullets meant for the living. Archie became a symbol of the R&D's ingenuity and dark humor, a silent sentinel absorbing the enemy's fire, allowing real men to survive another day. This detail, often overlooked, speaks volumes about the grim ingenuity required for survival on the Western Front. The R&D's initial experiences on the Somme were a stark reminder of the brutal efficiency of modern warfare. They learned to navigate the treacherous landscape of craters and barbed wire, to endure the constant threat of artillery, and to live with the omnipresent stench of death. These early weeks were a period of adaptation, preparing them for the monumental task that lay ahead, the Battle of the Anchor, a final, desperate push in the Somme offensive. October 1916. The Battle of the Somme raged on, a relentless, attritional struggle that had already claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. And now it was the Royal Naval Division's turn to bleed in one of its final, most desperate acts. Their objective, a formidable German stronghold at Beaucourt Ridge, a fortress of concrete bunkers, machine gun nests, and intricate trench systems that had withstood every assault since July 1st. This was no ordinary objective. It was a linchpin of the German defensive line, a testament to their engineering and tactical prowess. The attack was scheduled for dawn on November 13th, part of the larger Battle of the Anchor. Thousands of men, including the sailors of the R&D, lay shivering in no man's land, waiting for the signal. Some had lain there for over 12 hours, exposed to rifle fire, the biting cold, and the incessant, chilling rain. The tension was unbearable, a silent agony punctuated only by the distant rumble of artillery. Then came the low whistle, the signal to advance. It was followed by the thunder of a creeping barrage, a wall of exploding shells designed to clear the way for the advancing infantry. And then, the ghostly sound of men rising as one, a wave of humanity surging forward into the fog and smoke towards the German lines. This was the moment of truth, the culmination of months of training and years of sacrifice. For military enthusiasts, the Beaucourt Ridge assault offers a compelling study in World War I tactics, particularly the use of creeping barrages and the challenges of attacking fortified positions. The assault on Beaucourt Ridge was a maelstrom of chaos and heroism. Hood Battalion, led by the indomitable Brigadier Bernard Freyberg, surged forward with astonishing speed. A New Zealander by birth, Freyberg was a man of immense courage and tactical brilliance, already a veteran of Gallipoli. They reached the third German line in minutes, a testament to their training and the ferocity of their charge. Their objective was taken with remarkable efficiency, a rare success in the Somme's grim ledger. To their left, however, Hawk Battalion was less fortunate. The creeping barrage, despite its intensity, had missed a crucial concrete redoubt, a heavily fortified machine gun position. As Hawk advanced, machine guns opened fire from this untouched strong point, scything down hundreds of men in seconds. The casualties were catastrophic. Of the 415 men from Hawk who went over the top, only a handful came back, a stark reminder of the brutal effectiveness of German defensive fire. This devastating loss underscores the fine margins between success and failure on the Western Front, where a single missed target by artillery could spell annihilation for an attacking force. Still, Freyberg pushed forward, even after being wounded 4 times. His determination was legendary. He led his men through shattered trenches, navigating the hellish landscape of craters and debris. They captured over 400 prisoners, more than his own depleted force, and refused to retreat, consolidating their gains despite overwhelming odds. Even A.P. Herbert of Hawke, one of the few survivors from his battalion, joined him in that final desperate push, a testament to the unbreakable spirit of the R&D. Against all expectations, the Royal Naval Division achieved a remarkable victory. They took 3 villages, Beaucourt, Beaumont-Hamel, and Grandcourt. They seized over 6,000 prisoners, a staggering number for a single division. They did the impossible, breaking through a sector that had resisted all previous attempts. Their success at Beaucourt Ridge was a rare beacon of light in the otherwise bleak narrative of the Somme, a testament to their extraordinary courage and resilience. This heroic stand cemented their reputation as a formidable fighting force, despite their unconventional origins. When the division was finally relieved from the front lines, the survivors were few, their faces etched with the horrors they had witnessed. The dead were many, their names added to the ever-growing list of casualties. And yet the R&D remained. General Shute, still resentful of their unique status and perceived insubordination, tried once more to have them disbanded. But his request ran aground, blocked by the powerful influence of Winston Churchill, who remained a staunch advocate for his creation, and the Asquiths, whose personal connection to the R&D through Arthur ensured their continued support. In the end, it was Shute who went, replaced by a more sympathetic commander. The sailors stayed, their unique identity preserved. The Royal Naval Division continued to serve with distinction throughout the remainder of the war, participating in major offensives such as the Battle of Arras in 1917 and the final 100 Days Offensive in 1918. They consistently proved their worth, earning numerous decorations for bravery and enduring immense losses. Their story is a testament to the adaptability of the British fighting man and the enduring power of unit identity. Today, a monument stands at Beaucourt Ridge, a solemn tribute raised by a grieving father whose son died with Hawke Battalion. Another in London was paid for by the public, who had come to know the bravery of these strange, steadfast men. These memorials serve as enduring reminders of their sacrifice and unique place in history. In 1920, the Royal Naval Division assembled one final time, its flags lowered, its dead remembered in a poignant ceremony. They had come as sailors, answering the call of duty. They fought as soldiers, enduring the unimaginable horrors of the Western Front. But they never stopped being what they truly were, a breed apart. Their legacy is one of courage, resilience, and the remarkable ability of men to adapt and excel in circumstances far removed from their original calling. For naval historians, military enthusiasts, and WW1 researchers, the Royal Naval Division remains a compelling and vital chapter in the annals of the Great War. While these sailors-turned-soldiers battled in the trenches of the Western Front, another part of the Royal Navy was fighting on the frozen plains of Russia, a story equally compelling and often overlooked. That story is next. If this forgotten chapter of heroism and sacrifice moved you, if it deepened your understanding of the Great War, then we urge you to take action. Like this video, subscribe to our channel for more untold histories, and share it with fellow history buffs and researchers. Your engagement ensures that the memory of the Royal Naval Division and countless other brave souls endures for future generations. Let us continue to honor their legacy by seeking out and sharing these vital stories.